They say the first time is passion, the second is weakness. By the third, it's addiction. We didn't stop. That window wasn't the last place I gave myself to her. We kept meeting, after hours, in shadow corners of the executive floor. Once, in an empty conference room overlooking Midtown, where she rode me with her blouse still on, whispering dirty words in Spanish against my ear. I never asked what they meant. I didn't need to. The way she said them made my knees shake. But it wasn't just sex anymore. Not for me. I started watching her when she wasn't looking, not in lust, but with hunger. The kind of hunger that comes after you've eaten the forbidden fruit and find yourself ravenous again anyway. I wanted her with me, not just under me. With me, at meetings, on press tours, at the head of the table during quarterly reports. I told myself it was her intellect, her skill, but that was bullshit. It was the way her legs crossed and silk behind the conference table. The way she looked at me with those eyes that said, I could destroy you if I wanted. And maybe she already had. It was a Wednesday when it happened. I came into the office early, the sky still iron gray, coffee in one hand, thoughts on a Singapore deal in the other. On my desk was a manila envelope. No name, no logo. Inside was a thumb drive. No note. Just one of those tiny silent threats that only the truly dangerous know how to leave behind. I locked the door, plugged it in. There were no documents, just a single video file. I clicked it, and my heart stopped. The screen flickered, then there I was. We were in my office. Friday night, her bent over my desk moaning, her skirt around her ankles, my face visible, my hand gripping her waist, my name spilling from her lips. Audio, video, clear enough for a scandal, clear enough for prison if someone wanted to twist it that far. I watched myself finish inside her. Then the screen cut to black. No message, just silence. I stared at the monitor. I felt it then, cold, real. This wasn't a game anymore. I didn't see her that day. She wasn't in the bullpen. Susan said Mariella had taken a personal day. No explanation, no warning. The silence gnawed at me. I replayed the video in my head, not the sex, the angles, the camera, the way it had been planted, how, when. She planned this. She knew exactly what she was doing. And it made me hard and sick all at once. She returned the next morning. I watched her walk through the glass doors like nothing had changed. Perfectly composed, crisp white blouse, navy skirt, curls pinned. But her eyes found mine across the office, just for a second. A smirk, no fear, no guilt, just ownership. She came to me just before lunch, closed the door behind her, quiet. She placed a printed document on my desk. I stared at it. What is this? A promotion letter, she said softly. Title change, salary increase, long-term retention package, optional seat at board meetings as an advisor. I didn't move. I didn't speak. She walked around the desk, slow. Her heels clicked softly like distant thunder. She leaned in beside me, her mouth close to my ear. Sign it, she said. You're blackmailing me, I responded. She didn't deny it. Instead, she straddled the arm of my chair, her thighs brushing mine. Her voice was almost affectionate. I'm protecting what's mine. I turned to look at her. Her eyes weren't cruel, not exactly. They were something worse. Intimate. You want me to give you power, I whispered. She smiled. You already have. I just want it formalized, she said. I felt myself tremble. A man in his prime, a CEO, reduced to a heartbeat and an erection, and a signature away from ruin. You planned all of this. No, she said, but I adapted. I stared at the pen. The weight of my reputation, my board, my legacy, all balanced against her curves, her scent, her finger brushing my collar. You'd really expose me, I asked. Her smile faded. A softness returned to her voice. No, Adrian. Not unless you make me. And I believed her. I signed, not because I was afraid, but because part of me wanted to. Because of some broken, poison corner of my soul, I wanted to belong to her. To see what she'd do with me. That night, she came to my penthouse. No knocking, no hesitation. She let herself in with the key I didn't remember giving her. We didn't fuck that night. We lay in bed, clothes half off, her body against mine, her hand tracing my chest like it was something fragile. I don't want to hurt you, she whispered. But you will, I said. She didn't argue. She kissed me instead, soft, final, like a lullaby before the storm. There was no line anymore. Between right and wrong, between want and need, between her body and mine. She came to me every night after the papers were signed. Sometimes with a knock and sometimes with a key. And every time, I took her like she was the last woman on earth, bent over the leather couch in my office, straddling me in the back of my town car, pressed up against the marble sink in the executive bathroom, her panties clenched in one fist while my other hand gripped her throat, her breath rasping as she came with my name in her mouth. We became a ritual, a hunger, a fever I never stopped trying to cure. And every time, I finished inside her. No protection, no thought, just instinct. It was stupid, irresponsible, dangerous, but by then, I wasn't thinking like a CEO. I was just thinking like a man who found the only thing that made him feel alive. My wife knew, but not because I told her, because I stopped coming home. I started sleeping in the penthouse full time. My assistant rearranged my calendar without asking questions. My wedding band disappeared into a drawer, and when it came up during board meetings, I said I was focusing on the business. But I wasn't. I was focusing on her, Mariella, my intern, my mistress, my damnation. And in the quiet hours between orgasms, when she lay on my chest, tracing the scars of my ambition with her finger, I actually believed, that we were becoming something real. She changed too. She laughed more, smiled longer. The sharp edge of her blackmail faded, replaced by a kind of broken intimacy neither of us could name. She still made demands, still pushed me, still reminded me who held the leverage. But she kissed my scars. She whispered about her childhood in Santo Domingo. She cried one night when I told her I'd never been in love. We weren't just using each other anymore. We were falling, and falling fast. The pregnancy test was left on my bathroom counter. No note, no warning, just a white stick, pink lines. I stared at it like it might vanish if I blinked hard enough. When I found her in the kitchen, barefoot in one of my dress shirts, sipping tea like she hadn't just torn my world in half, I couldn't speak. She didn't either. She just looked up and said, "It's yours." I don't know how long I stood there. I felt like the air had been sucked out of my apartment, like the room was too bright, too clean, like everything was about to explode. You kept letting me finish in you, I said numbly. She raised an eyebrow. You never asked me to stop. You wanted this, I responded. She shrugged softly. I didn't not want it, she said. A pause. You said I was yours, and I believed you. It all unraveled after that. My wife filed for divorce within a week. Her lawyers were brutal, precise. She took half. She leaked the affair to the press. The board called for an emergency meeting and suspended me. Words like misconduct, ethics violation, exploitation floated like knives in every article. Headlines screamed a story before I could even brace for the blow. Mariella was offered a quiet resignation package. She declined. You lost everything, she said one night, curled beside me, her stomach just barely showing. I was staring at the ceiling of the penthouse, the once proud skyline, now a cage of lights. I deserve to, I muttered. She turned to face me. You didn't lose me. I looked at her, and for the first time, I saw something fragile behind her strength, a need that matched my own. We stayed, not because it was easy, but because we couldn't stop. Even after the tabloids moved on, after the money dried up, after the world forgot who Adrian Mercer used to be, we funked like gods and cried like children. On the floor, in the shower, on the balcony under the rain, her pregnant belly swollen between us, her thighs wrapped around my waist as I took her over and over again, whispering apologies into her mouth. And every time I came, I did it inside her, like I needed to prove something, like I needed to surrender again. The night she went into labor, I was the only one there. No family, no friends, just the two of us, clinging to each other like the world outside was still trying to tear us apart. She screamed when the pain hit, and I held her hand and whispered back, I'm not leaving. Our daughter was born in silence, tiny, dark-eyed, fists curled like she was already ready to fight. We named her Solana, after the son we never saw anymore. We live simple now. No boardrooms, no chauffeurs, just the apartment and the baby, and the echo of the choices we made. Sometimes she wakes me up in the middle of the night, naked, except for an old silk tie of mine, crawling over me with hunger in her eyes. Sometimes we argue so hard, I think we might break for good. But we never do. We are not a love story. We are a consequence, but we are real. And somehow, in the ruin of everything I thought I was, I found the one person who sees me, even in the dark. You've just tasted a drop of the dark. Ready for more? Subscribe to Amorous Sanctum and let the shadows pull you deeper into a world of forbidden fantasy and wicked romance. Have a dark desire you love to see unfold? Whisper it in the comments. We adore your imagination. Until we meet again, don't be afraid to crave.